So Shadow Monks give us this idea, this flavor, that we're gonna pop out of shadows and just absolutely assassinate someone. In reality though, turns out that you pop out of the shadows and tickle them, more often than not. We want to change that with this build. We want to go Shadow Monk and we want to pop out of the shadows and we want to absolutely clap someone. This video is brought to you by the Crystals of Zleth. Very straightforward, you give them a little bit of money, they give you an awesome solo campaign. I have personally played the beginning of this campaign and you can watch the Let's Play on this channel. Has an awesome survival setup where you're in this forest and there is a clear signs of corruption. Things are not the way they should be and it's all pointing in a direction. Are you going to follow that direction and what are you going to find when you get there? Well, you'll have to figure that out on your own. With that, let's jump into the build. All right, let's start off with Lineage. Bugbear is going to be what we're going, and for obvious reasons. Bugbears have the ability to take multiple attacks and turn them into absolutely nuclear damage. So what we're trying to do is pop out of the shadows and kill someone. There's no one better at doing that than Bugbear. Next up, we have stats. We're going to be going the monk stat lineup with our emphasis in dexterity. So we're going dexterity primary, wisdom secondary, constitution tertiary. As for our leveling structure, we're taking our first 6 levels into Shadow Monk. From there, we're going to jump into Gloom Stalker for a bit, and then we have some options past that we'll discuss once we get there. So let's talk about our early levels. At level 1, we're going to be a fairly typical monk. One thing to consider though is that because Bugbear gives us long reach when we attack, makes our attack range 10 feet instead of 5 feet, we are a natural hit and runner, which monks love to be. Monks like to hit and then not be there to get hit, and Bugbears really help us out with that option. And even at this level, it might not seem like much, but getting that opening attack with that extra 2d6 damage is amazing. It's like hitting them nearly with a greatsword without your modifier attached to it, just as with hitting them with anything. It's really powerful, even at level 1, and it's only going to get more powerful from here. Level 2, we're going to increase our movement, and then we're going to specialize in flurry of blows. Now, on that opening turn where we can do 2d6 extra damage when we hit someone, we can flurry of blows on that turn, and all of a sudden this flurry of blows that was looking like a bit of extra damage is looking like a chunk of extra damage. So we're happy to pick that up here and abuse it. Now, I am a big proponent of monks needing to be specialized, that you don't create monks trying to do every key option they have okay. You try and make one key option fantastic, and Bugbears naturally make your flurry of blows fantastic on that first turn. So we're going to be specializing more in the flurry of blows option as far as our monk options go. Level 3, we're going to be picking up Shadow Monk. Shadow Monk does something really important for us. It allows us to get more opportunities to ambush, to have rounds of surprise. It does this through Pass Without Trace. This makes our whole team more likely to ambush someone, and the reason that's so big, I want you to think about Pass Without Trace a little bit differently. Yes, it's amazing out of combat, but think about it as potentially being action surge for your whole party for 2 key points. That's nuts. That's insane value. So we have 3 key points. 2 of them for Pass Without Trace to get our party into the ambush arena, and then 1 of them for that flurry of blows on that first turn. So you use all 3 key points for a very important fight that you can set up an ambush and whack, you're going to absolutely crush that combat. It doesn't just come with Pass Without Trace though, we're also getting silence and darkness as well. Those are not what we're here for, but don't forget about them either. There are times where a darkness smoke bomb is exactly what you need, or silence is exactly what you need against a spellcaster or to break a window to begin an infiltration, for example. At level 4, we're going to want to bump our dexterity. If we happen to have an odd dexterity, we can pick up something like Skill Expert. This can give us expertise in stealth, which would be a great option for us. But honestly, if you don't have an odd dexterity, no big deal. Just take the dex bump. Level 5, we're going to get extra attack. That, of course, is going to combine well with our early burst damage, giving us our attack on top of another 2d6 damage. Pretty insane damage output. And then at level 6, we're going to get Shadow Step. Shadow Step's actually really incredible. It's going to be a little bit weird and wonky in some combats because we're going to be asking our DM, like, is there a shadow there? Is there a shadow there? Is there a shadow there? But bonus action, free teleport with advantage on the next attack on top of it is pretty freaking amazing, even with the limitation of shadows. Level 7, we're going to be going into Ranger. Ranger 1, where we're going to be getting an expertise. If you don't have it in stealth already, probably pick it up here. Now we have other options. We can do acrobatics, athletics, we can do sleight of hand. so on and so forth. Whatever fits your character's flavor the best, go for it here. Ranger 2, we're going to get a fighting style, some spell casting. As for spell casting, Hunter's Mark stands out. Ideally, we'd like to put it on an enemy before combat begins, and then rush in there and beat the crap out of them. But more likely, what it's going to be used for is after that first round of burst combat damage, you can then set up Hunter's Mark, and then from there, use the rest of your key as flurry of blows. We're still specializing in flurry of blows, but instead of getting that 2d6 damage from Bugbear for free, now we're doing a spell slot concentration bonus action to do 1 extra d6. So if the combat's going to go long enough, Hunter's Mark can shine. Other spells include Entangle. Entangle is great for more of a crowd combat. Even though we're not specialized in Wisdom, Entangle's still a great spell, and it will set us up to beat the crap out of some people. As for our fighting styles, none really stand out to me as amazing, so I'm looking at the dueling fighting style. The dueling fighting style is a bit better than the versatility that a longsword can bring, so you want to use one hand instead of two. So it's just going to increase our damage output a little bit, and then we can follow up with our flurry of blows from there. I do want to note at this point that we're still probably doing the hit and run thing. The long reach that Bugbear gives us is really important for monks. So try and stay in that hit and run combat and not be the front of taking the damage for your team. It'll keep you alive and dealing damage for much, much longer. And now that we potentially are concentrating, it's all the more important. Level 9, this is going to surprise absolutely no one. We're going Gloomstalker. Now, I know Gloomstalker is incredibly powerful, and it is, but it fits the build too well. What, you're not going to go Bugbear and have an extra attack burst strategy and not go Gloomstalker? No. It helps us go quicker, it helps us hit harder with an extra attack, and that extra attack dealing a d8. So just let's break it down for a second. We're going to have 3 attacks, 2 from our extra attack, 1 from Gloomstalker. This is before Flurry of Blows, which is going to give us 2 more as our bonus action attacks. Each of these attacks is doing anywhere from about a d10 of damage because of dueling fighting style. Then you have a d6 for our punches. Then you're going to add 2d6 to every single one of those, and then a d8 on top of it. Now often, these are going to be at advantage because of the surprise round. Not always, but often. And if all of these hit, you're doing something like 100 average damage. So even if a few miss, you're still hitting someone really, really freaking hard. And this is really what we were out here to do, right? Where a monk pops out of the shadows, and we're not tickling someone this time, we're putting them in the ground. We're gonna go into Ranger 4 here for our ASI. ASIs are just too important for a monk chassis build. We're gonna max out Dexterity. If you already have it maxed out, we're gonna go into Wisdom. Plain and simple. Let's talk about these upcoming levels. I would highly recommend going 2 levels in Fighter to pick up Action Surge. Not only are we going to get another fighting style, which really isn't going to help us much, but the Action Surge is going to change that 5 attacks to 8 attacks. And yeah, people are going to die. On the first round, people are going to die. We might even think about going a subclass in an ASI and Fighter as well. Ultimately, we probably want to wrap it back to Monk. I know Monks aren't the most powerful, and it's going to be a while to scale, but after we take some levels in Fighter, let's go back into our base class, get more key points, do more Flurry of Blowsing things, and enjoy the class. Now, I mentioned this in one of my other videos, but I think it's a shame that I really haven't covered the Monk Ranger multi-class much at all. So I am trying to catch up on that, and this is definitely a cool combination. It's both powerful, it's flavorful, and who doesn't like to be a freaking ninja? But that's just how I would pull it off. Let me know what you guys would do in the comments down below. And with that, my friends, I hope you have yourselves an incredible day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.